It's no secret the economy has been rough, especially if you're a business owner or anybody who's been affected by the business. How do you become powerful and stand out right now and be able to gain that advantage in today's economy? You better listen in. Hello, my fellow Ripplers. This is Chris Miles, your cash flow expert and anti-financial advisor. This show is for you, especially those of you that want to become work optional, where you have enough money, where you create enough passive income to work because you want to, not because you have to. All right, I'm now bringing back for the second time this year, Dr. Chris Phelps, who is the CEO of the Cialdini Institute. I know those of you, if you've been in business, you've been around marketing and things like that, you know the power of Cialdini, right? You've probably read his books. Well, guess what? Chris is the man. We had him back on before, but we're bringing him back on again because I'm telling you right now, the economy is uncertain. I am seeing so many people right now that are having a rough time. Even people that have made millions are now struggling, saying, what's going on? If you want to have that competitive edge, that's exactly what we're talking about with Chris today. So, Chris, welcome back.
Hey, thank you, Chris. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, man. So I know you've got an event coming up. Let's just talk about the event you have coming because I know that's something that like myself and half my team want to attend.
Yeah, well, the we're doing a 2-day event in Tempe, Arizona. It's going to be online, but most importantly, in person, because
Yeah.
that's where you get the best experience, right? And the most takeaways, if you will. And we're doing it because, as you said, what we keep hearing from the market is people in marketing, people in sales, people in people management, is that they've lost their edge, right? They were successful to a point and life was good. And all of a sudden, because of the uncertainty in our economy, the market's tightened up for them, right? And things that
Yeah.
used to work for them, messages they used to put out there, let's say using scarcity in marketing, are suddenly too desensitized. They're not working like they used to. And in fact, they're having to do twice as much. In fact, people are telling me they're spending twice as much in marketing just to get the same result that they used
Wow.
to, right? So ultimately, it's like, what's going on? What's behind that? And it's not unlike a time in circa 2008, for those of you that are around in business during that point, and the
Hmm.
housing crisis and the financial crisis that happened after that, that affected anybody that had any kind of business as a result. And I remember that uncertainty around the customer mindset is exactly the same uncertainty that we're feeling now, right?
Yeah.
So, what's the solution? Well, as a business owner myself back then, I had taken over just two of my struggling dental practices at that time, which was kind of nuts. So, I sell my two best ones and take over my two worst ones because why not punish myself? In the worst economy we had seen in 40 years at the time, right? So, not good at a timing standpoint. But when I learned these persuasion principles from Dr. Cialdini and went back and used them in my practices, to influence my patients more to say yes to treatment in our, which could be true to sales, and my marketing to attract more quality new patients, and my team management so I could get out of telling my team to do stuff and influence them to do their job instead. What happened? Well, when more dentists went bankrupt in that 5-year period after 2008 than in the history of dentistry, my two businesses that were struggling suddenly grew $1 million each 3 years in a row. So
Wow.
what it showed me was the power when you understand these principles of persuasion. The good news is the economy doesn't matter. The world around us doesn't matter. This uncertainty that's holding people back doesn't matter. And the reason is because one of our main principles, actually two of our main principles, is what you can be leveraging right now to overcome this uncertainty. And that's what we're going to be covering at our 2-day event in Tempe, December 5th and 6th. So let me give you one of them, right? One
Hmm.
of them is the authority principle. And the authority principle basically states that we look to credible experts to tell us what we should do. Because the truth of the matter is, we don't have time to be an expert in everything. Okay.
Right.
So when we find true authorities, we want their opinion, we want their advice, and we tend to follow it. The catch is, how do we define that true authority? What does that mean? Right.
Yeah.
So, in essence, what we've learned from the science side of things is we need credible authorities, meaning we need people with expertise and training in this matter. But here's what's important for the marketplace today: we also need them to be people we can trust. Okay. So when AI is putting things in front of us in email form, in text form, we're getting scammers all the time,
Hmm.
right? Alerts and emails and text. And we're seeing marketing. Was it AI generated? Was it people generated? people are losing the ability to differentiate and tell what's real and what's from coming from a real person and what's not, right?
Right.
On top of that, while technology has kind of made life simpler for us, it's actually made life more complex and it's actually isolating us more from each other than it is bringing us more together.
Mm.
Well, all of that means when you're isolated is you, again, lose the ability to know who you can trust.
Right.
So by building your marketing messages around trust, around being transparent, because that's one of our little authority shortcuts. Transparency equals somebody I can trust today. So what's an
Right.
example? So let's say that I remember Avis rental cars used to use this in their advertising slogan years ago, and it helped them gain like over 600% market share in the rental car space when they used this. And they said, Avis, we're number two, but we try harder. I mean, they're literally not hiding the elephant in the room. They're starting with it in their marketing message,
Yeah.
right? Meaning they're not number one, but they're pivoting that and telling you, but they're going to try harder for your business.
Right.
Well, if I don't really have a preference and I just see two rental car companies and one is telling me they're going to work hard for my business and apparently the other one's fat and happy, which one might I choose for myself now, right?
Right.
Maybe I'll go with the one that was being honest and transparent in this kind of scenario. L'Oreal Cosmetics used a similar type line in their marketing to increase their market share over 300% back in the day by saying, hey, L'Oreal, we're expensive, but you're worth it. So
Right.
automatically telling you right off the bat, we're not cheap, but aren't you worth it?
Right. It's not
Yeah,
even we're worth it. It's you're worth it.
you're worth it. And that person's thinking to themselves, you know what? I am worth it. Dang it, I'm gonna get me some L'Oreal. So in that sense, this is one of our little authority trust shortcuts that we've learned with persuasion is that, again, if it's true, you can ethically share something that's a negative about your product, good, or service, okay? And pivot on that magic word but, and then talk about the positive thing of that. And you do two things in that scenario. Number one is by starting with the negative, that's what's going to build trust in your messaging and draw them more to you, right? We're looking for people we can trust nowadays to do business with. So if I
Right.
don't see any evidence that I can trust you, I'm probably moving on to the next thing because I've got too
Mhm.
many things in my world to deal with. And if we remember to pivot on that word but and focus on the positive, that's what people are actually left remembering about that thing. You're worth it, right? We work harder for your business as well. So, just one of many application things we're going to be covering when it comes to the science of persuasion and persuasion at this 2-day applications focus workshop.
My favorite thing is, especially in a place where there's a lot of snow around December, it's nice that you're in a warm place like Tempe where you're not going to get snowed on.
Correct. We're going to have some outdoor events, and I'm not worried about the weather one bit.
No, you wouldn't have to be. I love what you're saying here. Well, why? I mean, you mentioned with AI and everything else. I mean, is it just AI, or is there other things happening in the marketplace or the economy right now that's caught? And like you said, you deal with management too. This is not just for business owners. This is even for people in management positions. I mean,
Right.
is there something going on? I mean, is it just because affordability? Like, are people burned out because everything was yes before, especially after COVID? Or what do you feel is, or what have you seen as kind of the reasoning why people are shifting and have to really earn that trust now?
Yeah, I really just think they're getting hit by multiple things. Like it's never just one thing, but when they're
Yeah.
getting hit from their point of view from all sides, when let's say business owners, when we see costs rising dramatically,
Mhm.
the dollar devaluing because of inflation, when
Yeah.
we see the threat of war is always on the horizon, when we see all of this uncertainty around us, ultimately our market is seeing that as well. And what they're saying is, you know what? When people have any questions or doubt in their mind, their mindset shifts to choosing to do nothing because choosing to do
Yeah.
nothing is safer for them than choosing to do anything, right? They become, it's almost like they go from being risk tolerant to being more risk averse. And
Right.
when they're risk averse, again, they put the shield up and it's hard to get through that shield unless you give them a reason, something that stands out amongst the crowd. And nowadays, I don't really see many people leveraging this authority principle in their marketing. Like even
Mhm.
simple things like if you've been in business for 5 plus years, 10 plus years, 25 plus years, when they see businesses in every industry going out of business and
Yeah.
constant messaging around that, well, guess what? That you stand out more now because of that. If I'm going to invest anywhere,
If you've been following this podcast, you're probably looking for great ways to create passive income right now, right? Well, we got you covered here with Central Lending. Central Lending specializes in alternative investments that actually are designed to create steady returns and long-term financial security for you and your family. Now, they prioritize transparency. They love, building those strong relationships, giving you that confidence and peace of mind, knowing that you have your money working harder for you, so you don't have to work so hard for that money. You want to learn more how to do that? Go to centrallending.com and check out what they've got today to create your passive income and wealth creation right now.
Let me go with the company who's been around, who has that expertise because of that, who made it through the last storm of uncertainty that we lived back in 2008 through 2015, right?
Oh yeah.
All of those things matter. And again, will help differentiate you and pull more people in a positive way, in an ethical way, your direction.
Right. That's a good point. I mean, I know for me, like even when I'm looking at services to pay for with the business, especially the services, I mean, I've noticed more and more people are like, hey, we're going to give you a guarantee. Like will happen. If not, your money back. I mean, like money back guarantees are becoming a bigger thing again, which I haven't seen as long
Yep.
as you follow a system or whatever, right?
Yep.
I've even seen people like, I know for me personally, like even somebody says makes all these promises, I get pitched multiple times a day, whether it's somebody to help me with the podcast, help create AI versions of me out there. So I don't have to create any more content. I can just be an AI Chris now, or whatever it might be. But every time I see that, it's like, yeah, right. You and everybody else says the same thing. Is that kind of what it is? We've just been bombarded so much because there's been so much opulence. Now we're just tired of it.
Yeah, we definitely got desensitized to it as well. So, leaning on your authority triggers when possible is going to be key. So,
What about
um,
those in management? Like, I mean, how does this apply to them?
yeah. So for management folks, it's what's important is because I was in the same trap. Like, so I would work 2 days at one of my offices and 2 days at one of my other offices, and of course, when the cat was away, the mice would play. So I kept asking myself, well, how do I get my team to just do their job? Why do I have to keep telling them? How do I get out of this micromanaging thing?
Yeah.
Especially when it seems like priorities in their personal life are interfering with their work life, right? And so what I realized was I really was not doing a good job with our consistency principle, which basically states if people make a commitment, then they do.
Mm.
Well, I realized with my team, I was forcing this job upon them. I forced their job duties and description upon them. They didn't commit to it. Not really. Okay.
Yeah.
They did it because they needed a job, but that's why when I was not there, they didn't do that job. So I had to go back and think of it almost like bowling, right? And I'd go to my team and say, "Hey, guys, we're bowling together. I got to pick the lane, right? Because I'm the
Mhm.
captain of the ship, right? I've got to pick the number of pins. I'm going to set the goal. But ultimately, I need your help. I need you to be involved with me on this. And you get a voluntary choice in the matter. Okay.
Yeah.
First, who's going to help me get to this goal? Because you're either going to help me or you're not. So I'm kind of leveraging public commitment, getting them to raise their hand,
Hmm.
and social proof. Look how many people in this group are committing to helping me now. And if they don't commit to helping me as a group, well, then it's also very telling because they see an elephant in the room. They see a barrier that I don't.
Yeah.
So instead of trying to enable something or enact this strategic plan when everybody's dead set against it from the start and it's got nowhere to go but to be doomed, right? Let's not hide from the elephant in the room. Let's bring it up and talk about it, right? Let's solve it now together. Outside
Right.
of that, if I can get everybody committed, now I got to give them some choice. Hey, how do you want to throw the ball? Right-handed or left-handed? Maybe granny style. What size ball? 8 pounds, 10 pounds, 12 pounds? What size holes? Small, medium, large, right? So I'm going to give them choices along the way. Okay. And the more choices I give them, we call that as one of our voluntary commitments. That person is more and more and more committed to doing that thing and helping us reach that goal now.
But I
So
thought you said people want to be told what to do.
people hate to be told what to do. We learned that when we were children,
Uh-huh.
right? We like to be told. And you know what? That really hasn't changed. Because what happens is when somebody tells you to do something, whether you realize it or not, a boss, a police officer, like somebody over you, if you will, in essence, they have taken away your control. That's what we don't like about it. They've taken away your remote control, if you will, and you want to control that remote control. You want to watch what you want to watch on TV.
Hmm.
So the first thing you do when somebody takes something away from you, the scarcity principle kicks in. What do? You want to take it right back. So the
Hmm.
first chance you have to be back in control, you are. That's why when the cat's away, the mice play. Okay.
Hmm.
But when you influence people, when they choose, they have a choice in the matter. Hey, this or that. Which would you prefer? then you're not telling them anything. They are literally choosing their own path and committing to it every step of the way. So now what I found was when I did this with my team, whatever the project was, that not only got the momentum going and kept the ball rolling, but I didn't have to be involved with it and keep tabs on them. The last little secret here is that no matter what, if the behavior needs to continue from here on out until it becomes a habit, so you're talking 60 to 90 days,
Mhm.
they need some kind of a reminder of the commitments that they made.
Right.
That's why people studies show it's not because they were lying to you when they don't follow through with what they said they were going to do. Most genuine people, it's just that they got distracted by other things. But
Mhm.
some kind of reminder of what they said they were going to get done for you automatically sets the stage that they're going to get it done.
But I would say, well, I know before I let you go here, one quick question. I've already had you do the ripple effect, type of thing, of course, with you, but I would love to have you share again, like how you got connected, because obviously Robert Cialdini was obviously the part that he was the institute, and then
Yeah.
you came along. How did that marriage work between you guys?
Yeah. Well, like I said, it was when I had sold my two best dental practices and took over my two worst ones
Hmm.
and could not get to the root cause of the behavior issues with my two struggling practices. My team, as I mentioned, why weren't patients coming back for the treatment that they needed, right? My
Yeah.
associate doctors, why am I paying for their education and they're not doing their education? And so I realized it was a two-pronged problem that number one, I wasn't getting a commitment out of any of those folks to do any of those things.
Right.
So once I learned how to apply this consistency principle and get better commitments out of them, everything changed. Okay.
Yeah.
At the same time, I realized my challenge from a marketing and a sales point of view was this. I'm talking about what people need. Unless it's top of mind pain,
Mhm.
people prefer to spend money on what they want, not what they
Sure.
need. Right? So, how can I leverage these principles and apply them to present my message so that it turns the need I'm presenting into a want in their mindset and their perspective? Because if they want it, regardless of the economy, guess what happens? They tend to find a way to get it done. So
Right.
that's another thing we're going to be covering in our December event is how do we turn need ethically into want? And if they want it, then whatever excuses you were getting after no before magically disappear.
Awesome. Well, definitely. We'll put a link in the show notes for everybody if they want to register for that or find more information on it. I know for me personally, that's something that, once you introduced it to me, I was like, you know what, I'm in. I want to be there. So, if anybody wants to hang out with me, please be sure to let us know. Put it in the comments or whatever. But definitely, yeah, we'll be sure to make sure you guys have a link to this. But again, Chris, really appreciate you coming on because I think this is needed right now. This is insightful, and I think if people are really listening to this message, it's not just something that can help them in their business or their work, but it can also help them with their money too. Because I can guarantee there's some people saying, I'm frozen right now. I
Mhm.
might need to know how I can break that pattern so then I can actually be proactive instead of reactive.
Dead on, Chris. You nailed it.
So, all right, Chris, well, appreciate you here today. Everybody, again, like I said, go check the show notes. So you have the link there to be able to register for that event, which is December 6th and 7th, correct?
Fifth and sixth.
5th and 6th, sorry, 5th and 6th. Yeah, that weekend right there. So be sure you join us there in Arizona. Guys, thank you for tuning in and binging and sharing as always. Quick reminder, if you want to get a copy of our work optional blueprint book, it is out now on Amazon. Go check that out today, the work optional blueprint. Please not just buy it, but leave us a review. And we would really appreciate that because, man, this book could change your life. Remember, you can listen to these podcasts all day long, but until you actually act, your life will remain the same. So go and make it a wonderful and prosperous week. We'll see you later.